Space Coconut.
Alright, all of us have had issues with Dead by Daylight, some more than others, and some, like myself, are extremely vocal about those issues. But with every DLC and every patch we get, the devs consistently ignore community feedback to some of the most obvious issues we face as players. In other cases, they nerf or change things that the community wasn't concerned with or collectively felt was already weak and was made even weaker. To their credit, there have been some good changes to some of the most annoying things in the game, most notably the endgame collapse, various add-on passes that removed downsides, and recently a quality of life change to Trapper that probably should have been in before their first anniversary. Regardless, there are still more issues that cause frustration to players rather than enjoyment that have existed since the beginning, or have been actively ignored by the dev team. This should be obvious to anyone who's been paying attention for at least the past 3 or 4 DLCs and mid-chapter patches. For the current DLC, Chains of Hate, many players had issues with the strength of the sabotage changes, but nothing was changed from the PTB to live. Hangman's Trick was definitely too strong on the PTB, but was nerfed into the ground for live. They gave the laughable excuse that it was meant to help killer players identify survivors hiding near hooks. As if killers don't have eyes when a survivor is running towards the hook. Hangman's Trick used to actually do something about sabotage by restoring a hook very quickly. It was still bad since you didn't actually know when a survivor was planning to sabotage your hooks until they actually did. That's not really the point, is it? Gearhead, which was already a meh perk, was made even worse by limiting its use and making it more difficult to be activated for some reason. Hex Retribution is yet another band-aid fix for totems that have also had the same issues since their introduction to the game, which needs its own video to be discussed. This is not including the long-standing issues of balance, sound, keys, mores, survivor objectives, killer match speed, and the myriad of other legitimate issues that players have with the game. If you find yourself thinking about how frustrating your matches for the day are going to be, rather than how fun they're going to be, it might be time to put Dead by Daylight away, since this is the way the devs want the game to be. This is why today we're talking about why it might be time to leave Dead by Daylight, rather than make an entire video about our concerns just to talk about issues that we constantly talk about and the devs just constantly ignore. The speed of the matches, combined with matchmaking, the barrier to entry, the perks, and the mechanics that make matches feel unfair, make for a more frustrating than fun game experience. But this is by design.
I think that it's never going to be the perfect balance because this game sort of thrives on frustration.
Right.
You're supposed to... Because that's what makes it good. That's why you keep playing hours and hours and hours on end because you've got those real human reactions.
Yeah.
So I think it's always going to be part of it.
And it's one.
I don't know about you, but I don't keep playing Dead by Daylight because it pisses me off. I don't play any game because it pisses me off. Do you? When you watch a dev stream, or see a forum post about an issue you're concerned about, and find out that the devs are flippant and even condescending about the players with those issues, how much confidence does that instill in you that the devs are listening to what we have to say? The clear disregard for player feedback and concerns should be a red flag for any player who actually wants to see Dead by Daylight improve.
We're not going to change our way of doing things, and we're not going to change our focus.
If the devs remain in their own echo chamber without bringing in new thoughts and ideas to challenge their status quo, we're going to continue to get the same stale and broken content just as we have for the past few years. While yes, the game has improved over the years, but many of the core issues that hold the game back and that drive players away remain, and the devs say that they're not going to change. Do you find yourself getting mad in situations you normally wouldn't? Teabagging, tunneling, camping, keys, mores, slugging, gen rushing, looping, 99% gates, and any other simple, dumb tactic available in a match are really just annoyances. But once you get to a certain point, these actions become increasingly infuriating, and as the frustration over those situations grow, so does the player's toxicity. If you find yourself getting genuinely pissed off at a player using any of these tactics or doing any of these things, it might be time to realize that the devs will never change those tactics, and it might be time to really find a new game to spend your time on. Have you noticed that many content creators who take extended breaks from Dead by Daylight and only come back to try the new DLC never sound happy to do so?
Because I was kind of in a spot where I wasn't really interested in playing Dead by Daylight for a while. I actually hadn't touched the game in many months, mainly due to the just enormous gen speed problem currently going down. And then they had the Ruin nerf, and it just really felt like it was going in a bad direction. So I decided to kind of get away from it for a bit. But the only thing that he really struggles with is as that aforementioned generator problem. And so long as those generators are as fast as they are, so long as there's no real way to stop survivors from bum rushing them in the beginning of the game, I think he's gonna struggle a little bit. And I may even make a case file on this guy. No promises. I didn't make an Oni one because Oni was rather disappointing to me. After he came out, I was just like, this is not what I like right now.
When you open up Steam and you look at that big green shiny play button, are you excited to find out what kind of matches you're going to have? Or do you lose that excitement thinking about the kind of matches you're going to have? Do you feel this way? You take a break because of the issues you have with the game and later come back to try the new thing, only to find that survivors have hour-long wait times because Killer is so frustrating to play. Now you had more fun accidentally making your ears bleed because you wanted to see how far you could push the Q-tip into your ear, rather than boot up Dead by Daylight? Here's the one that affects me the most. How much free time do you have? I have a full-time job, a wife, a new place that needs work, a desire to be healthier, a slow-growing YouTube channel that requires match recording and video editing, and a stream I'm trying to get going as well. If you're like me, and you have a very limited amount of time to spend gaming, why are we spending that time on a game that is deliberately created to frustrate us? It's very much like a relationship. We, the players, are having issues, and we're trying to talk to them, the devs, but instead of listening and either doing something or at the very least acknowledging the issues, we're seemingly being ignored. This is not a healthy relationship to have with anyone. Why should we continue to maintain it just because we have fun sometimes? We shouldn't. Mental health is a big deal, and when a pastime does this to us, not only should we consider quitting, we should think about the type of people who are creating the environment and whether or not we should be giving those type of people our money. In the end, we all have our reasons to play or not to play. I'm not going to fault anyone for doing one or the other because I'm practically stuck in the same boat. I love Dead by Daylight. I very much do not love how the devs ignore player feedback, except for the feedback they agree with, which is very much echo chamber behavior, isn't it? I'll probably still play, but I do think I'll start to shift away from it, since ragey videos aren't really what I'd like this channel to be. Let me know your thoughts and what you think of this conversation. Have you left Dead by Daylight? Are you thinking about it? Have you found something else that has grabbed your attention that you think other people might enjoy? Leave a comment below, and let's hear about it. I'm going to make the 3 perk study videos for the Deathslingers perks, and then I'll figure out what to do next, depending on what you guys have commented. I think it's time for a change, and since the devs refuse to change, maybe it's time that we do. It's something to think about, I guess. In the meantime, I'll see you guys later.